What are we at?
We
It's
are.
at $95,000.
It's at $95,000. We're ripping. Logan sent us live. I just saw one of those
Oh, that's what
charts.
you meant by ripping.
No, we're ripping. No, I meant like price ripping. I just saw the M2 chart, the delayed like Bitcoin tracking M2. According to this chart, we're going to be at 220,000 by June. So
What chart is this?
here, Logan.
Logan, pull up the chart.
Logan, pull it up.
Marty, is the super cycle still in play?
I think so. I'm gonna come back on the super cycle side of things. You know, things are getting pretty crazy out there. Could be back in play. Could be. I'm at a could be back in play state of mind right now.
When was the last time we were at 95? Was it 2 months ago?
It was not that long ago. Feels like forever ago though.
What is this chart you pulled up? I can't see who posted it. Did TFTC
I have no idea.
post it?
No, it just came up randomly on my For You tab.
Stay humble and stack sats, freaks.
Yeah,
I was going to ask you guys about this chart. Yeah, I've seen a couple different variations of it with strategy or Bitcoin price, and it's kind of tracking.
So freaks, Marty was shitting on an entire generation of freaks, and it turns out that one of the Zoomers actually does our taxes for us. We have Seth here from Satoshi Pacioli.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
You know more about my finances than my wife does. This is pretty interesting. Not that I'm trying to hide it from her. She's blissfully. Don't worry, honey. There'll be money.
Yeah, she's.
I'll take care of it.
She's in good hands.
Don't worry, honey. A Zoomer's handling it.
Yeah, we got the best Zoomer working on our taxes. Don't worry, honey. Seth, welcome to the show. It's great to have you.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Is that all you got? What's your Zoomer story? You're barely a Zoomer. I'm gonna like. He's right on the edge of being in our generation, but we'll give him the Zoomer title for today.
Yeah, we were talking before the show. I think I'm kind of technically a zillennial. There's a couple different things. I feel like in a couple different ways, I didn't get like a good 90s childhood at all. And in other ways, I got a little bit of it. But yeah, I mean, kind of what I thought made me as a Zoomer is that I did have to finish college on Zoom due to COVID. And then I started working full time on Zoom. So I think I checked the box a little bit.
Is that where Zoomers came from? Zoom, the tool?
That's what I thought.
I think so.
Logan's shaking his head no. Logan, what is your Zoomer take on
like
this?
when were people even using Zoom before 2020?
I was using it.
I don't think so. Because I thought it was just it was Gen Z first.
It was Gen Z and Zoomers
and Boomer. Like put Z on Boomer, you get Zoomer.
Yeah, I think it was probably that. It just rhymes with boomers.
Could somebody in the comment section do an etymology of the word Zoomer for us, please?
And like young kids zoom around, right? Like they're like all running around. It's definitely a name that was created by the older generation. Like the Zoomers didn't name themselves the Zoomers.
Yes. Zoomers who are listening, I'm very happy to have Seth here, our Zoomer of the week. But as I was saying before we hit record here, I need like a 19-year-old broccoli haircut, like dangly earring Zoomer.
I got one.
If you're listening,
I got one already.
If you're listening out there, I need you on the show.
I have like a list of like 25 right now. We could keep this up all year if we want.
I think we should. We need to bring in the younger generations.
I see Ride or Die Freak Pringle Stacks telling me to check my node. Her zap didn't go through this week. Yeah, my node was down all week. I found out yesterday. So
not the first week.
Hashtag value for value. Thank you for trying. Your sats weren't lost. They just never made it. They went back to your wallet. So you didn't lose any money because of it. Only I did.
Yeah. I lost some money on BuzzBot this week, that curse bot.
I warned you and you did it anyway.
Matt's
As I was warning you, you're like, send post.
Do you want to explain that to people?
Why don't you explain it?
BuzzBot, bot on Noster. If you tag it with an amount of sats, it'll send you an invoice via DMs. You pay that invoice, and then you have a 24-hour contest. People that interact with your post, whether it's zaps, retweets, likes, comments, they'll get a certain amount of sats. And what's the auction style? So like
It's like a penny auction. So it's basically like a social lottery mixed with a penny auction. So the social lottery element is a random reposter gets 10% of the pot. A random person who likes it gets 10% of the pot, and a random person who comments gets 10% of the pot. Then 70% of the pot goes, so that's the social lottery element, and then 70% of the pot goes to whoever zapped the highest. So that part's kind of like a penny auction, right? Where obviously whoever originally posted it is getting all the zaps regardless, but who's ever the highest one gets paid out. So it's definitely a bit primitive. Some people might think it's spammy. I think it does show that when you mix Bitcoin, permissionless money, with Nostr, permissionless speech and comms and identity, you can do a lot of novel things without permission and kind of just iterate as you go. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see more advanced versions of this kind of develop, because people like gambling. And if you mix gambling with social, it's inherently viral. So pretty fascinating to watch unfold. But anyway, Marty did it. And what that means is everyone's incentivized to reply and retweet. So his notifications just got absolutely blown the fuck up.
Yeah, and I feel like it was annoying other people. I want to apologize to everybody on Nostr for my BuzzBot tweet. Apparently it was big. It blew up on the last weekend, and people were going crazy with it, and people were like, this is annoying. And
Marty was on like the tail end.
Yeah, I was off of social media all week, and then we had a Monday morning call match like explaining BuzzBot. I was like, oh, let me test this out, and just like hit send. Like,
and it was Marty didn't put like a valuable piece of content attached to it. What was your Nostr
like,
note?
Stocks dumping, Bitcoin pumping. Let's try out BuzzBot. Time to try out BuzzBot. I'm feeling good.
Just apes the fucking. Anyway, I thought it was kind of cool.
To the BuzzBot team, though, I think there was a bug where they sent me the invoice and I paid via my Primal wallet, via Nostr Wallet Connect in the browser on my desktop. And I don't think it recognized it. I had to like DM them and be like, hey, I paid this. Here's the receipt of my payment.
I think their bot was down.
Okay.
So they had to like manually do stuff. They kind of just ripped it live. I know they want to add different customization things. Obviously, it's gameable in a couple different ways. Anyone can spin up an NPub if they want to. You can set up a bot that just spams comments or spams retweets or whatever. So you need to put like some kind of identity score or reputation score. The person who posts it can zap themselves and take all the money. So you're kind of trusting the person who posts it. But yeah, it's just interesting. Marty, I don't know if you're looking at the Nostr live chat, but we've just got 4 21,000 sat zaps. It's just running wild right now. We got Mab21 zapped 21,000 sats. Paulie zapped 21,000 sats, said yo mandibles. Soap Miner zapped 21,000 sats, say Mav always beats me, damn it. Hamlin zapped 21 sats, saying have a great weekend. Thank you, freaks. That's pretty awesome how many fat zaps just came in.
Honored and humbled by your zaps.
We're going to have to keep up the Zoomer series. They seem to like it.
Are we going to have to share the stats with the Zoomers? Or no. I don't think so, right? It's just a pleasure
we're sharing,
to build the show.
Yeah, we're sharing the show with them. You're welcome, Seth.
Sharing the stage.
I appreciate it.
Seth, I do have a question for you. Not a Zoomer-related question, but due to the nature of the business that you're in, accounting, but more specifically, accounting for Bitcoiners and Bitcoin businesses at Satoshi Petroli. Do you have any thoughts on like getting on Zero and how to do that from an accountant's perspective? Have you ever run the numbers?
Yeah, I think we. I guess you mean run the numbers like.
Is it a good decision?
How went all in on Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean the companies that we see that are on Zero, they are doing very well. Like when I was doing the tax returns this year, I had to do a bunch of adjustments to reconcile book and tax, and so many of them were just unrealized gain on Bitcoin. And so that made me very happy to see all the people that were doing well from holding their Bitcoin. Um, but yeah, it's very interesting, the demand for Bitcoin only accountants or accountants that understand Bitcoin. So many people come to us and say, it actually makes me kind of sad. A lot of people say that they were like judged by their accountant for mentioning Bitcoin, or they have to like hide the fact that they invest in Bitcoin or use Bitcoin. So it's usually a sigh of relief when those people come to us, and we're not going to judge them. We're going to kind of encourage them to do that. So I think it's a breath of fresh air for people sometimes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and like how many other Bitcoin focused accountants are out there?
I think there's a few. There's a Telegram group I'm part of that's got a couple of different Bitcoiner accountants in there. So we'll toss ideas back and forth in there sometimes and recommend clients, stuff like that.
Oh. Are there more Zoom or
What's it-
Bitcoin accountants coming?
I don't know. Um, that's a good question. I feel like I mean, sometimes I feel like I'm not a Zoomer. I usually hang out with a lot of older folks. So, um, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know of a ton of people coming through the pipeline there. But, Joe and I have had a conversation with a couple of people in the past that are in school currently and kind of, encouraging them for a way to go down the accounting path and then also use Bitcoin, and specialize in Bitcoin there. So, I feel like in the next few years we're going to see a lot more, but I don't think there's a ton of them right
Seth, average Gary wants to know if you know who the boomer is in the painting behind you.
now. No, I didn't look at the name before. Um, no,
Well, why don't you
I don't
take
know
a
who
look
it is.
now and let us know? I'm very curious who that is. I'm guessing some old British dude.
Yeah, I can't read. I don't have my glasses on.
Oh
They're
God.
good. Anyway, guys, so before we get into Bitcoin, Satoshi Pacioli is best in class accountants. Highly recommend them if you are looking for a Bitcoin focused accountant. I know we just passed tax day, so you'll probably want to just procrastinate and put everything off until next year. But consider reaching out to them now, getting that relationship in order for next year. Highly recommend it. You will not be disappointed. And I believe it's SatoshiPacioli.com. They're active on Nostr and X.
Prepare.
Yeah, the best
I
time
don't want to blow.
to
I don't want to blow
prepare
smoke
for
up your ass, Seth and Joe and everybody else at the team, but it has made my life a ton easier. Not only am
glad
I
to
using
hear
your
that.
accounting service, I got like you guys are helping me like what do we call that? Contract CFO as well.
Yeah, like fractional CFO.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's one of the few services we offer. A lot of tax compliance, bookkeeping, and then I guess you can kind of lump tax planning in with advisory. But yeah, the best time to plan for like next April is now. There's a lot of things you can do before the end of the year, a lot of decisions you can make, levers you can pull. Sometimes you can save a lot of money, by making one strategic move. So it's always good to plan ahead and not start on April 14th.
That used to be me. Until I found Satoshi Pacioli. It's not me anymore, guys. I'm prepared. Okay? I'm up to date. Taxes were the bane of my existence for the first 15 years of my professional career. And
Okay, Marty, read the dashboard.
oh, we're doing dashboard? I thought Zoomers.
Yeah.
Moving to Clark's dashboard. Current price of Bitcoin is 95,140 cuckbucks. One cuckbuck is going to get you 1,051 sats. Sats are still on sale. One cuckbuck's going to get you more than 1,000. Get them while the deal is on the table, okay? Don't know how long that deal is going to be there. As we just saw with the M2 chart, it's going to be like 500 sats a dollar by like June of this year. So get them while you can. Market cap.
Wait. Sats per dollar goes down as Bitcoin price goes up.
Yeah, I said 500 per dollar.
Oh, okay. I thought you said 500,000.
No, 500.
I'm glad we sorted that out. I continue.
Yeah. Market cap under $2 trillion, but not too far under $1.89 trillion. We are currently at block height 893,955, which means we are 1,149 blocks away from the next difficulty retarget, about halfway, a little less than halfway through this difficulty epoch. And I've been looking at my block clock mini right above my sink in my house, and I've been noticing that there's a downward difficulty adjustment coming. It's been blowing my mind. The price is running. Wire miners unplugging. You finally have hash price going up, but despite that, in 1,149 blocks, it's looking like we're gonna have a downwards adjustment of 6.2%. Blocks have been coming in at 10 minutes and 40 seconds on average since the last adjustment, which was an upwards adjustment of 1.4. And we like numerology here. The last difficulty epoch was 444, fours across the board. Palindrome difficulty epoch. We're now in epoch 445. There are currently 1,233, or excuse me, 11,649 transactions in Clark's mempool. Mempool.space has 11,712, 2 sats per vbyte across the board. Despite the price ripping, mempools relatively empty, very cheap to get a transaction confirmed right now. If you're looking to consolidate, if you're looking to move to cold storage, might want to take advantage of this deal. That is the state of the network. It's a beautiful state of the network. We're back at 95,000. How's it feel, boys? There's something about the price going up just makes you feel better, right? Huh, Logan? How do you feel? He's got 2 thumbs up over there. He feels great.
Yeah, it always feels good to see that price go up.
It is crazy. I was actually thinking about it this week. My wife was like, it just feels better when the price is going up. I was like, we should probably try to detach from having our emotions dictated by the price of Bitcoin.
I looked it up, Marty. March 1st was the last time we were at 95K.
That was the longest month in 24 days of my life. It's crazy.
It is pretty funny how it feels different on the way down as the way up.
Yeah, 75 on the way up. It's like, yeah. On the way down, oh my God, the world is ending.
We didn't spend much time in the 80s range last time, did we?
No, we blew through. There was the air pocket. James Check on Chain's he's been talking about this air pocket. That's what we had to do. We had to get back to the air pocket, test that range, see what the demand was like. Looks like the demand was strong. People scooped up the cheap corn while it lasted.
Stay humble and stack sats.
Speaking of staying humble and sacking sats, big news of the week, talk of the town. Jack Mallers, Tether, SoftBank, and Cantor Fitzgerald announced the creation of 21 Capital. It'll just be 21. XXI will be the ticker. A Bitcoin treasury company going public via SPAC. Jack Mallers will be the CEO. A lot of suits involved. We've got a competitor to strategy out there now. Matt, I'll throw it to you.
Yeah, I mean, they're coming out of the gate with 42,000 Bitcoin, so that'll make them the 3rd largest treasury in the world, corporate treasury in the world, of a public company. There are private companies that have larger treasuries, Tether being one of them. I believe Tether has 100,000 Bitcoin in their corporate treasury. But yeah, so they're coming out in a big way. They're being led by Jack. Jack is an incredibly close friend of ours. I've worked very closely with him building out Strike because 1031 is the largest investor in Strike, and Strike is by far our largest investment. And it's just been an honor and a privilege working alongside him and his team. They are amazing at executing. If they're incredibly high integrity, they get shit done. They're very focused, and they truly do care about Bitcoin. So I think it's pretty hard to overstate what a big impact this could be. I think it's still a little bit early. I kind of have to be a little bit careful about how we talk about publicly traded stuff. I prefer to have a podcast about commodities, not securities, which is why we have a Bitcoin show. But the way SPACs work, they have to publicly announce before XXI actually like closes and fully gets formed, right? And so that's what happened right now. So everyone knows it's happening. Everyone knows it exists. Everyone knows the ticker of what is going to merge with XXI, the company. But XXI itself doesn't really exist yet. It will exist in a few months. So with all that context, we have the announcement, but we don't actually see necessarily what they're going to be doing and what the plan is. But obviously, it is a strategy competitor. It's good that I think everyone thinks competition is good, right? It's good to have more entities out there. So it's not just Sailor out there on his own. So I think that'll be better for consumers. I think there's very interesting things that can happen in terms of stuff like proof of reserves and different custodian relationships in terms of differentiating from other existing things that are out there. And I think it's absolutely massive that SoftBank and Cantor are involved. Obviously, Cantor has been in the headlines a lot lately because the founder of Cantor, Howard Lutnick, is the commerce secretary, and his sons now run the business. And so they were intimately involved with this deal. And SoftBank, is one of the largest allocators in the world. And Tether is one of the most profitable private businesses in the world. So to see all four of those entities come together in this one strategy is pretty mind-blowing. I will just say that I know there's a lot of excitement out there. Stay humble and consider stacking sats. I think that's always good, tried and true advice. But my heart is with Jack and the rest of the team. I'm pretty fucking excited about it, and I couldn't imagine a better dude to lead the initiative.
Neither can I. I'm super stoked for Jack. Everybody involved. A lot of FUD out there. Well, Bitcoin's being co-opted. Like blah 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 blah. The game is happening, whether you like it or not. I think Safe was on Palm's podcast yesterday, or it was published yesterday, and he made a really good point. Like, are you mad at Mike, or should we stop MicroStrategy from acquiring this Bitcoin? It's like, no. Like, I literally wrote a book. I've been telling anybody, an individual business, to buy Bitcoin for years. If you don't do it and somebody else does, you can't fault the person that does for not doing it. And there's obviously demand in the market for a vehicle like this to acquire Bitcoin, and you can sit there and watch Michael Saylor get 600,000 Bitcoin and decide not to do anything, or jump in the fray and do something. And to echo what Matt said, like, these forces coming together to do this with 21 and Jack Mallers specifically, like, it's a pretty strong roster of people to bring some competition to market. And it's just been so cool to watch Jack's progression over the years. We'll get to it after we talk about his strike announcement as well. But I went back last night, reminisced about the first time I read about what Jack was working on in the newsletter. Issue 256, June of 2018, was I covered Jack teasing Zap, the Zap wallet, which was sort of the predecessor of the open source wallet project that Jack built before Strike, and sort of turned that into Strike. It's just crazy to see how far we've come since then. He has come, and Strike specifically. But on that note, alongside the announcement of the creation of 21, Jack also released the some financial results for Strike, which are pretty strong, if you ask me, as a managing partner at 1031, largest outside investor in Strike. We're very happy of the performance of Strike and how incredible the company Jack and his team have built over the last really like 4 years. And so throw it back to you, Matt, because I know you're close to these.
But you want to read the numbers that they released? Do you have it in front of you?
$6 billion in volume last year, which is a 600% increase, I believe. I don't have the numbers right in front of me. Let me pull up the tweets here. So we got $6 billion in volume in 2024, year-on-year growth, 600% gross profit margin of 85%. Again, it's not on that $6 billion. It's on the revenue that the company produced off of that $6 billion in volume. Their CAC, their cost to acquire a customer, is $0. They've essentially just been leveraging the brand awareness that Jack creates, and they have a
No
viral
marketing
consumer
spend.
app. No marketing spend. Their largest customer cohort is buying anywhere from $50,000 to $500,000 a month, or transacting, buy and sell $50,000 to $500,000 of Bitcoin a month. And they're expecting to generate 8 to 9 figures in net profit in 2025 with just 75 full-time employees.
Yeah, 75 employees, 101 countries. Significant profit. I don't want to, I mean, the numbers are really fucking good. They're fucking crushing it. That team is incredibly impressive. They're absolutely crushing it. And the desire was to make it very clear here that Jack isn't, running away from a quote unquote sinking ship. Strike is thriving. It's in a really good place right now. 21 is distinct and separate, but very complementary to Strike, and he will be running both. And my expectation is both will be incredibly successful and will benefit each other significantly. And it's just it's been insane to watch Strike grow from the inside. I don't think people really appreciate how impressive that team is and how good they are at executing.
Yeah, it's very impressive what Jack's pulled off. Strike was one of the first wallets that I used and started to buy Bitcoin on. And I'd say it's one of my favorites. I like it a lot. I
It
like
is
to
really
encourage it.
fun. Yeah, go on.
I'll recommend it to a lot of people, especially people that are operating in like South America or Central America, especially the business accounts, simply because of the ability to send dollars over Lightning as pesos and vice versa. I haven't needed that feature personally, but I believe that's a very, very nice feature in there.
Yeah. No, and I think releasing the financials yesterday, River did it a couple weeks ago too, but I like this trend of Bitcoin companies being transparent with the financials. Not only that, really, I think Strike and River really lean into this operating business on a Bitcoin standard where it's like, be as profitable as possible with the least amount of resources necessary to drive your Bitcoin treasury at the end of the day. And there is a new way to run a business in the digital age under a Bitcoin standard. It's not raise a bunch of money, hire a bunch of people, spend a bunch of marketing. Like, you have the hurdle rate of Bitcoin that you have to beat internally. And I think what Jack has done at Strike is an incredible manifestation of that business principle applied in reality. Like you said, 101 countries. Strike has more licenses than Coinbase and Block, with a very small percentage of the overall headcount that both those companies have. It's pretty impressive.
I think it's pretty funny, the haters that are like attacking Jack, saying people should just buy Bitcoin, and then his response is, yeah, that's why I built Strike. You could do it very easily.
I've learned that Bitcoiners they seem to like to complain a lot. And I did not expect so much hatred for Jack in this announcement. I feel like Bitcoiners sometimes are very good at regurgitating lines. Stay humble, stack sats, not your keys, not your coins. No, that's great advice. But the one that really sticks out to me is Bitcoin is for your enemies. And now your enemy, these corporations, are stacking and you're mad about it. And it doesn't make sense to me. I feel like it is the next logical conclusion that if individuals think that Bitcoin is a superior store of value, that corporations and nation states would also think that too. And there's nothing we can do about it. So,
well, I mean, I think, first of all, what I've seen is overwhelming support. There are some vocal haters, and there always will be. And Marty and I are often subject to them as well. I mean, particularly on the 1031 side. But the way I look at it is, I mean, there is things that we can do about it, which is we can compete and we can try and move the market in a better direction. You know, a younger Matt would send out tons of tweets complaining about Barry Silbert or A16Z. Those complaints really did fuck all. Like, it got me retweets, right? Like, you got the dopamine engagement boost. But what actually makes them obsolete is launching 1031 and allocating appropriately, and allocating in a Bitcoin positive way. And so if you look at, if you want to complain about how Saylor runs his business, the best way to deal with that is to launch something that is run better, or run, at least in your beliefs, is run better. If you want to see Saylor have proof of reserves, you do what Metaplanet did, and you launch a beautiful proof of reserves page with mempool.space, right? That's actually actionable and gets shit done. And yeah, like, some people are going to be pissed off about it. Some people will call you a sellout. But I'm pretty sure it's impossible to do anything of substance without having at least a few haters on the internet.
I agree.
Hi, haters. Logan, pull this up again. Going back to it, I was getting very nostalgic. Go to the first. So this is issue 256 of Marty's Bent, which is the thing that birthed TFTC and this whole journey we've been on. Tuesday, June 19th, 2018. So this was before Rabbit Hole Recap even existed. And this is like the downturn of the ICO bubble. This is what innovation looks like. And then I'll just read what I wrote. It's not that long. And it's funny. I was rereading it last night, just cringing at my writing style 7 years ago. Like, God, I was such... I like to think my writing style, has evolved over the years. Sometimes it's easy to get dismayed in the space because there's constant churn of pump and dump schemes promising the world and masquerading as legitimate projects after raising hundreds of millions to billions of dollars. I would say that exactly zero of the projects that have raised obscene amounts of money from the public while promising innovative tech have successfully followed up on their promises. They're either half-baked ideas that don't do anything close to what was marketed pre-ICO, or they simply don't work at all, or haven't launched because of some internal community strife. These projects and the people who lead them think that raising millions upon billions of dollars is necessary for innovation. Over the weekend, our boy Jack Mahler showed up every ICO bro and brah in the world by releasing some teasers to his product Zap. From the looks of it, Jack has produced more innovation than any ICO in the space without raising a fucking dime. If you haven't watched the videos in this thread above yet, they show Jack and friends utilizing Zap, which is built on top of the Lightning Network, to seamlessly send invoices that can be instantly paid with Bitcoin via the iMessage app. I think it was an iOS app. I don't know why I said iMessage. Finally, something that has real-world utility and practicality has been built in the space and was done for free. Insanity. Jack didn't need to raise millions of dollars to provide value to the world. He has truly built something that is actually useful and has a real chance of attaining mass adoption, since a good amount of people have iPhones. And for that, Uncle Marty thanks you. And so this was Zap. This was like the Lightning Network was brand new. And it's just like cool to see he was just taking videos of himself sending some of the first Lightning payments via the Zap app. That was an open source wallet. I think the model that Zap put out there made it very easy to connect to your node using the mobile wallet. I think that birthed projects like Zeus and others, at least from an idea perspective. And I think it's just crazy to see he built that open source wallet, got adoption, and then came to the idea I need to get Bitcoin in more people's hands and decided to start Strike.
Yeah, I mean, the other piece was when the first time he announced Strike was in your studio apartment with the two of us. And we forgot to record for the first 40 minutes, and we had to re-record, which was something I just thought of because I went on What Bitcoin Did, and Danny forgot to press the record button for the first hour and 20 minutes.
Danny, it happens.
Happens to the best
it happens,
of us.
Danny.
I got tagged as Marty would fire Logan immediately.
I mean, Marty has done worse. We've had, at least with Danny, we had the camera audio that he tried to clean up and salvage to a degree. But for the Jack mishap, we had absolutely nothing. Like there was just no recording whatsoever. And then we had to try and reenact it. It's always worse when you like try and reenact it. We like acted surprised. We're like, oh my God, that's crazy that you're launching this thing. Like we could just stack sats like straight through the Lightning Network. And then there was a couple times where like he wasn't wearing monitors and like we'd have fuzzy audio, which is almost even worse. It was just like permanent static through the whole line. It happens to the best of us. Is my point.
There was one where
Marty wouldn't fire you, Logan. We love you, Logan. You can just stop recording and we would still love you.
There was one time where we forgot to hit stop record, and Murad gave like a big decred shill, and we accidentally like published it, and he was like, "Oh, you gotta delete that." And the worst, forget to hit the record button in my history of TFTC. It was the first time I recorded with Bitcoin Sign Guy. We talked for an hour and a half while polishing off a bottle of vodka, and I realized we didn't hit record, and we re-recorded our whole conversation from scratch after having polished off a bottle of vodka. That was interesting. It was a great episode. Go back and listen to it.
Bitcoin Sign Guy, I haven't talked to him in a bit.
I talked to him last week. He's doing well. He's doing very well.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. But just to wrap on this topic, for what it's worth, I just want to put this out there carefully. So the way my understanding of the way that this 21 SPAC works is there's currently a ticker out there, which I'm not going to say out loud, but a lot of you clearly already know it exists. That ticker is a Cantor vehicle. My understanding is it's a Cantor vehicle that will then merge and convert into XXI when XXI closes and launches. That's only going to be 2% of the total supply of XXI. And my understanding is that currently, at current prices, it's trading at 4x Bitcoin holdings. I think there's some people that might not realize that. I think there's a good argument that it's way overvalued. Just be careful out there.
Be aware. This is a beware moment.
Yeah, just stay humble and stack sats. Don't do anything stupid.
Seth, what are your thoughts on it?
Let the dust settle.
Not on this particular.
I couldn't help myself yesterday at close. And I snagged a little bit, like $25.
Jesus Christ.
I dumped it this morning. I made like 35%, but no, I think kind of
day trading, Seth. Come on.
Logan, end the stream.
Rare. I feel like with that and then with strategy, I see a lot of people that don't know what they're talking about. And, a lot of people are running the numbers and saying, they're going to have 42,000 Bitcoin and the market cap's only this. So it's got this much room to run. Am I wrong? Am I missing something? And yeah, you are missing something. Like it's only going to be 2.7% of the total supply there. So I don't know. I think it already ran how it's going to run, but not financial advice. I do think it's good advice to, get to. I don't know. The metric keeps moving now. It used to be get to 1 Bitcoin, and now I'm seeing get to 0.1 Bitcoin. But maybe you get to 0.1 Bitcoin or 0.2 before you start stacking Bitcoin treasuries. Maybe you only stack Bitcoin treasuries in tax advantaged accounts. That's kind of what I do. But yeah, I don't know. I think I do think there's probably a lot going to happen in the future with some of these things. Maybe that's where some people get burned. I've been thinking a lot about the MSTY. I'm just seeing so many people that are already retiring off of that, and that just kind of seems like a red flag to me. I don't know. I don't know what's more likely if, MicroStrategy loses their keys or that, Coinbase loses their keys and we have that kind of black swan event, or if MSTY just yield max blows up itself. I don't know what's more likely. I was kind of curious for y'all's thoughts on that.
Well, there's multiple layers of risk on that.
I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on MSTY. A lot of people talk about it. I don't know.
There's a large account on X now, Marty, that has basically co-opted the stacking sats meme for MSTY. So I've gotten more educated on it, out of resentment, more or less. So to those that aren't aware, MSTY is a covered call vehicle that promises you dividends based on the volatility of MSTR, and it also promises you a relative downside protection, barring some, as Seth said, some black swan events. Either yield max who runs it blows the fuck up, or if MSTR goes bankrupt or something, obviously you don't have downside protection from that. But you have reduced upside and you also have reduced downside, and it pays out dividends. So people like it because of the same reason that we've heard for years and years that people want cash flow, right? The same reason someone in 2017 sold their Bitcoin to buy a multifamily residential piece that paid out rent is the same reason why people are aping into MSTY. But the difference is you can just do it in your Robinhood account instead of like actually going and buying a fucking building or something. So it's obviously, less wealthy people in general have access to this that didn't necessarily have access to that. Historically, what we've seen is if you, at this point in the Bitcoin adoption cycle and past points in the Bitcoin adoption cycle, if you try and move to something that's cash flow generating, you net greatly underperform just holding Bitcoin. I expect that trend to continue, at least for the short to medium term. Like, I think Bitcoin has a long period of adoption still before you start to see purchasing power increases start to flatten out in a real way where it makes sense to try and prioritize cash flow. So in the short term, like the short to medium term, like if you are converting Bitcoin for some cash flow generation opportunity, it needs to be significant. Like it needs to outperform Bitcoin if that's your opportunity cost. And to me, that is my opportunity cost. So some people, it's provocative. They compare it to BlockFi or something. It's a completely different risk structure than BlockFi, even though that's a nice provocative thing. It does feel similar because of the word yield. And last cycle, yield was the story around BlockFi. But yeah, I think it's ironic that the U.S. government is talking about a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Companies are adopting Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Larry Fink is, the largest Bitcoin promoter in the world, going on shows and stuff, because BlackRock now has an incentive to pump the corn. And yet the alpha, the edge of holding self-custody Bitcoin and simply staying humble and stacking sats continues. Like, I do not think people truly appreciate that you can hold Bitcoin with very little counterparty risk, if not none. And you can hold it securely. You can hold it yourself. You can do whatever you want with it without permission, is a massive superpower. And even people like Saylor tweeted out the other day, it's like Bitcoin's the only asset in the world without counterparty risk. Yeah, well, not for MSTR and not anyone who holds MSTR. And that's the edge. You can say it out loud. You can say it out loud a million times over. And still, people who are just staying humble and stacking sats and holding the keys themselves securely have the edge, and we continue to have the edge. And I've started to question if that. I think that might always be the case. I think that might never change, because at this point, it seems like it's trending in the opposite direction rather than more people realizing that.
Yeah, and to Seth's earlier point, anybody getting mad about this, like, don't get mad at things you can't control. You can't control people starting businesses.
Bad way to live life.
Acquiring Bitcoin in ways that you may not agree with. That does not preclude you from acquiring and holding Bitcoin in the way you want to do. The Bitcoin is still this peer-to-peer distributed digital cash system that enables you to download the software, to create private public key pairs, and to secure the Bitcoin yourself. If that's how you think you should best use Bitcoin, use it that way. And like Matt just did, I would recommend. I think that is the edge. I think that's how you do it. But I will also be objective and admit that there's a lot of people out there who don't want to do that and prefer this stuff. It's crazy to me. It doesn't appease me in the same way, but you're just denying reality if you're trying to say that this there's objectively like demand for the stuff. Again, I don't agree. It's not how I want to get Bitcoin. I like to buy and sweep the cold storage, but not everybody thinks like me. Not everybody's as smart as me. Okay, this is this is unfortunately for them.
I think the bigger problem is like the 2024 and 2025 class. They're probably going to buy an STR or GameStop or whatever else, and they're probably not going to learn how to run a node and hold their own keys.
Yes, and this actually brings up another point, and the reason for that is likely not only do the marketers of this say like outsized returns, but unit bias as well. They say, oh, I can buy this $300 stock or buy a part of a $95,000 Bitcoin. Like I'm going to go for $300. Don't let unit bias drive your decision either.
So, well, sats are still the cheapest out of all of those. Let unit bias drive your decisions and stack sats instead. I had a long conversation with Danny about this on the latest What Bitcoin Did. And I think that's absolutely right. I mean, I think it should probably, these different types of products and derivative products are a massive risk to newcomers, right? Because they will get distracted and they will go for the convenient option or the option that seems like will make them richer or whatnot. And they'll skip that process of learning about Bitcoin, at least in the short term. But I think it's also important for people to realize that in terms of number of people using Bitcoin as freedom money and holding Bitcoin self-custody and using the tools, we've never had a higher number. Like the percentage is going down, but the absolute number of people that are using Bitcoin this way and using Bitcoin in a freedom-oriented way it's not even close. Like it's a massive number of people, and that number keeps going up. So I think, also as we saw last cycle, I mean, we saw it privately because we're the exclusive investor of CoinKite. Like cold card sales went through the fucking roof after FTX and BlockFi blew up. So it kind of becomes like a self-healing process. And unfortunately, some people will get wrecked along the way because the way you learn is by touching the stove. But I'm pretty sure there's going to be things that we can't even comprehend in terms of degeneracy led by suits this cycle. And when that happens, or if that happens, people will learn that there's a better way. Some people won't. Some people will just get absolutely wrecked and burnt out and disappear for a bit. But a bunch of people will learn, and then they'll start, learning Bitcoin best practices and stacking sats to self-custody.
Yeah, and there's a total separate user path from that. Like a lot of people aren't even getting burnt. They're just sort of seeing IBIT and the ETFs, MSTR, whatever it may be, as just like easy, like quick, like, all right, I have this intuition that I should get exposure to Bitcoin, so I'm just buy some of the ETF, buy some MSTR. And then they have that position. And then since they have that position, like, all right, I might as well do more research. And they do the research and they're like, oh, I could actually hold this thing. And I personally have spoken to some individuals with pretty large positions in IBIT specifically, that IBIT was the top of the funnel. They realized that they could actually hold Bitcoin, decided to sell their IBIT position, buy actual Bitcoin, hold it in multi-sig cold storage. Like, so that journey exists too. I'm not going to pretend like it is the predominant journey that anybody buying these products is going down, but there are those people out there as well.
Yeah, and maybe it would be we'd see a lot more of that too if you could actually redeem the ETFs, in kind for Bitcoin and withdraw that to self-storage to cold storage. But
that is, I mean, I believe, I haven't heard an update on it in months, but I believe BlackRock did file something to enable in-kind redemptions. We'll see if it materializes. That's a good sign.
And the key being there is Seth is an accountant, and in the current setup, if you were to sell your IBIT and then move to real Bitcoin, you'd get hit with a tax hit on any cap gain you have, which is a predatory incentive to stop you from doing it. But as Marty said, I mean, the ETF providers want that capability. Like, it's in their best interest, I think, to be able to offer that.
Yeah.
I want to take a break here to give a shout out to OG Freak, who I haven't seen in a live chat in a while, even though he's in the YouTube chat. I just want to say hi to Vake. Vake, it's good to see you. It's been a while, sir.
Dude, it's been a long time. It used to be in every show.
Yeah. Shout out to you, Vake. Miss you, brother. All right, should we keep going down the list?
Yeah, let's keep going.
It's a great week of news. Ben Carman, he's joining Spiral. It's a beautiful thing to see. Spent some time.
I felt like usually we don't have like hirings on the list, but first of all, massive friend of the show, victim of Shoegate when Marty shooed him off as well. So he's very connected with Rabbit Hole Recap. We weren't angry, but we were very disappointed when he went to Taproot Wizards, and so I feel like now, like we can put closure to the loss that we had of Ben working on usable Bitcoin things. And now he's at Spiral. I think it's a great fit. I think it's great for Spiral. I think it's great for Ben. I'm super, super excited. And he might be a Zoomer.
I think he's a Zoomer, yes. He's a Zoomer.
So we'll have him on the show as part of the Zoomer series. And Marty, you're not allowed to shoo him.
No, I get to shoo him whenever I want. It's
but he's going to stay. You can shoo him, but he's not going to comply with the shoo.
The original shoo was perfect because I was like, all right, and he just like put his head down and walked out.
It was so fucked up. He walked up multiple stories to get to you, didn't he?
Yeah, we were at Capital Factory at that point. This studio wasn't set up yet, so we were at like the 14th floor of Capital Factory. Shout out to Ben. I shoo you in jest these days. But I think what he's going to be doing at Spiral is tackling the LDK server and a new SDK that simplifies how we onboard self-custodial Bitcoin users. So basically an extension of his work at Mutiny Wallet, which he was working on before he went to the Wizards, the Gay Wizards Company. And it's great to see him working on these things, you know. It's beautiful. Shout out to you, Ben. Come let me shoo you at some point in the future. Next up on the list, Ocean's DATUM has found 100 blocks, which is beautiful to see. Thanks to DATUM, the Ocean team have increased the number of entities finding blocks who constructed their own templates by 13 entities. 11 if you assume just for RX is one entity. You love to see it. So you do
Absolutely
love to
massive.
see this. Yes.
Yeah, so a reminder to the freaks, DATUM is an open source protocol that allows Ocean miners to opt in to constructing their own blocks. So instead of the mining pool deciding which transactions are in a block, the individual miners get to. If I recall correctly, the two largest in terms of blocks found on Ocean right now that constructed their own blocks is Penguin Mining, which I just want to give a huge shout out to that team. I went to one of the Penguin Mining facilities. It was in the middle of nowhere, developing world country. It was the most impressive operation I've ever seen. It was so fucking cool. They had... They actually train locals to repair the ASICs on site because they're in the middle of nowhere. So they had like a clean room, just fucking set up. They were just repairing boards. And I was there when they were launching Ocean for the first time, and they were dipping their toe in. So it's good to see them doing more. And then the other one is Electron, which is led by a friend of the podcast, Rafa. And I think they're doing a really great job as well. And it's awesome to see them mining on Ocean and constructing their own blocks. Number go up. We'd like to see more of that.
Number go up. Let's go. Bullish week. Everybody's like, oh, the suits are taking over. No, people are plugging in their own miners and constructing their own blocks at a higher pace than since like 2011. Okay, we're attacking it from all angles: ground up, bottom down, or top down. Capital markets, fucking guerrilla mining. Bitcoin's yoked right now. 220 by June. You heard it here first. Super cycle.
Do you want to bet?
Super cycle might be back.
Marty, I'll bet you a
No
million
bets. No, I
cents
have too
that
many.
it's
I've
not
like
220 by June.
I'm on the hook for 500,000 if I lose the 2 bets out there right now. I'm not 500,000 sats. I'm not
So you have no conviction
my
over
my VAR, my value at risk at any given amount of open bets is 500,000 sats. We're at the limit now.
I'll give you odds.
As a fiduciary of my family's balance sheet, I can't extend any more risk. Okay.
Okay. So I'm glad we both agree that 220 by June is not in play.
It might be. Seth, you bet him. You're bullish. I can tell.
I'll take the bet, Matt.
You think we'll be over 220 by June?
$220
$220,000 per Bitcoin.
220 is a little high. I think like 175 is more realistic.
The truth always comes out when you bring
I don't
a
want to
bet
force
onto
you
the
into a
table.
bad bet. I hope it's a Friday
So
afternoon
it
rip.
was a bad bet.
I'm having some fun here, freaks. Okay. I'm not, and I'm going to be a financial advisor. Do not take that bet. Seth, don't do it.
Okay.
You know who else shouldn't do it?
Shit comes out.
Florida shouldn't pass SB 868, which proposes a backdoor into encrypted platforms. Not great to see out of a state that proclaims to be one of the freest in the nation. They're using the kids excuse.
They always use the kids.
We need access to the kids apps. So we need these.
Yeah,
backdoors.
so I believe this has passed the state house and the state senate, and it just needs to be signed or vetoed by the governor. If that's the case, it might be too late to even be reporting on it. It probably is going to happen. But this is incredibly fucked up. It's something to be aware of. They are, as Marty said, they're using the kids as an example. And this is always a tough one, right? Because I do think social media usage and just all screen usage is a problem for our youth and for the elder generation. Is not young, and he is heavily addicted to his devices and to social. But this is not the way to solve it. Like, I think the way you solve it is better parenting.
Wait, are they trying to solve the addiction
more
issue
education.
with this?
Well, it's because it's multifold, right? So they want a backdoor to any kind of message communication that teenagers have and younger kids have. And they want that on social and on messaging apps. And they want to remove disappearing messages for them and no encryption. But the only way you could ever even dream of enforcing this is you'd have to do KYC on every single user to get their age, right? Like, how do you know it's a teenager? So I kind of view it as like the first step of regulating child usage of social media, but that they're doing it through DMs at first, because then you have like a list of people that are underage and overage. You have a list of everybody.
Well, you have a list of
65. You still got to do the age verification.
It's like a roundabout digital ID or digital ID connection to your social. I mean, this is happening in Australia too. Very similar context, and it's not. I don't think it has anything to do with backdoors, but you need to, for certain apps, you need to show that you're over a certain age, so they're asking for identification, and they're framing it as we want to keep the kids off the apps, but what they really want to do is know what adults are on the apps and know what those adults are saying, so that they can throw them in the gulag for expressing wrong thing. Florida. How is this happening in Florida? That's what I want to know. I thought there's supposed to be a bastion of freedom in this country.
Well, I do think this is one of those things that'll be contested in courts. Maybe the damage will already be done at that point, because at the end of the day, you might see a bunch of private companies comply and then leave it in after the fact.
Well, how would they
it's not
comply?
mandated.
How would they just geofence Florida and then send particular download packages to people downloading from Florida IPs? Like, how would you even do that without borking it for everybody?
Yeah, you would do IP analysis, and if they were from Florida, you would either, if you didn't want to comply, you would just not serve them, right? Which is what we're seeing with the porn sites right now. But if you did want to comply, if you saw their IP address, then you would ask them for ID. And then, as we've seen with Bitcoin exchanges and stuff, depending on how hostile the government wants to be, they can make the argument that IP checks alone are not enough. And then you have to KYC everyone to make sure that Floridians aren't using it underage.
Yeah. You dropped out there the last bit, but yeah. Come on.
Well, if you got the gist of it, I don't know why my internet's fucked up right now.
Stay aware, freaks. Be aware. Stay aware. Stay humble, sax. Beware. Speak up about this. That's what the EFF, that's where we're pulling the story from this week. They are asking people, the call to action is speak up. If you're in Florida, call the governor's office. Tell them that this is an egregious affront to privacy rights, and if you're worried about protecting the kids, foster the nuclear family. This is not a state. The state should not be intervening in these problems. The kids and their parents need to get together and have a conversation. Hey, Jimmy, I notice you're a little addicted to your phone there. Why don't we go take your shoes, your socks off, go touch grass, okay? Go build a zip line in the back. You know, we could use some fried gator in this house. Why don't you go down, knock on Billy's door, take the shotgun, take out a gator for us. We need some fried gator tonight. Leave your phone at the house. Don't shoot Jimmy, and if the gator comes after you, make sure you run in zigzags so you don't get eaten, okay? If you're not back by 6, I'll go looking for you. We need to bring this back. Where's that America? That 90s America that I grew up in. You know what? I would go out. We didn't have phones. I was in Northeast Philly. I get sent out. It'd be like 10 neighborhoods over. My dad had a powerful whistle. It'd be dinner time. He'd come out on the front stoop and blow the whistle. My brother and I would be like, all right, we got to go home. You just run home. Where's that America? Let's bring it back. Seth, I know you don't remember that because you're a Zoomer, but it was awesome.
Yeah, I don't. That America's long gone.
Can we bring it back? Are you hopeful? Are you an optimistic Gen Zer?
Yeah,
or
I'd say,
are you?
I'd say I'm more optimistic than pessimistic. I think there's a lot of work that's got to happen to get that America back.
What are you doing to bring that America back, huh? What's your advice to other Zoomers to bring that America back?
You know, I think probably just trying different ways to resist the rise of dopamine culture. So, different ways in your life you can do that, whether it's writing long form content, you know, writing letters, thank you notes, stuff like that, instead of short texts. I mean, even I struggle with like 2.5 hour movie, not happening. That's not happening. I can't. I can't sit through that. I don't want to sit through that. So I think, yeah, being intentional about less phone time, less screen time, more family time. Um, for the running around outside though, I don't know. I feel like post COVID things are just very different. I don't see kids outside much anymore these days.
That's a shame.
I think good parents can fix that.
Yeah, we let our.
I
boys
think
run outside.
in terms of the challenges to society, it's relatively low lift to get your children more touch grass time. You just have to have the motivation to do it.
Yeah.
The bigger problem is most parents, myself included, I'm not great about it. I'm trying to improve. Are addicted themselves, right? Like how many times? I mean, Marty knows Seth is not at that chapter of his life yet. But like if I go to a playground or something, the overwhelming majority of parents are just staring at their phone the whole time. or their Apple Watch is like buzzing and they're like constantly checking it or whatever. And so like the kid's just like sitting there and he's like, okay, my dad's addicted. Like I want to be like my dad. And you're just fucked. So like you have to start with self-improvement, and it's not necessarily an easy process.
Guilty as well, but I will give myself credit at the playground. I'm gonna like keep the phone in the stroller, and I'm gonna play. I'm like, I still got that kid in me. I like to climb around on the jungle gym every once in a while, so we do a lot of chasing. It got bad literally the week before our second child was born, so this is like three years ago. I took our oldest to the park, and I was chasing him, and I was not aware of my surroundings, and he ran up into the jungle gym, and I went chasing him, and I jumped up, not realizing there was monkey bars overhead, and literally knocked myself out. Didn't knock myself out, but like hit my head so hard, started gushing blood right away. But there were other parents there on their phones. Nobody came to my help. I like had to like go back to like his scooter, find my phone, call my wife. I'm like, yeah, I just knocked myself out. You got to come pick us up. I got to get emergency care. I got staples in my head. It was a interesting time, but that's the risk you take when you drop your phone. When you drop your phone, you start playing with your kids. You know, you get injured. It's a risk I'm willing to take, though.
Well, I'm glad you made it through it.
I did.
I'm glad you survived.
I'm here now. Urgent care, though, great. You go in, staple you up, pay a couple $100. You're back on your way.
I love the idea that there's a parent just bleeding out in the playground, and the parents just don't even realize they're playing like words with friends.
Like it literally, there was like 10 minutes between like me hitting my head and being like, "Gosh, oh boy." Like, my oldest is like, "Daddy, are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll be fine." Like, call my wife. She comes. It's like 10 minutes. Then she gets there. She's like, "Oh my God!" And then all the other parents look up from their phones like, "Can I help you?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've been bleeding out for the last 10 minutes, chasing my son with one hand over my face, and you've been sitting there texting your friend. By the way, your kid's on the other side of the park. You might want to go get them, okay?" God, I want to move to the woods at some point too. When we lived in South Carolina, we had like 5 or 6 tree houses. This was early 2000s. Just sent out into the pines of South Carolina. We could build tree houses. We built 2 that had what's it? Not telegraph. What is it? Telegraph. No, what is that? Is that telegraph?
If you're doing Morse on just a tappy thing, that's a telegraph.
Yeah, telegraph. We built telegraph lines. We do like we built a zip line through one. Kids you need to get out there, be building. There's one kid, Eric Schneider. He used to try to set the forest on fire. I wonder where he is now. He like fine. We built go-karts too, so we had access to gasoline.
Eric, if you're listening to the show, we would love to have you on sometime.
Yeah, Eric. I hope you're doing okay out there, brother. Hope you're not the one setting off forest fires around the world. Pyro. Got to be, if your kids are playing with pyros, be aware. Be aware. Tell them to stay away. I don't know a good way to segue to this. But
I mean, that's a tricky one, right? Because like kids love fire.
Yeah.
I made so many bad decisions, but it worked out.
Yeah, we're here now. I think we turn out.
You don't want to be a hover parent, right? You don't want to be like a helicopter parent.
No, definitely
let
not.
Kids figure shit out for themselves.
Yeah. Average Gary from the Bitcoin veterans. It is Morse code, but what is like the thing that you're doing the Morse code on? It's a telegraph. Is it telegraph? I don't think it's a telegraph, Logan.
What is a telegraph then? Like, that's the only thing that a telegraph is, right? Like,
yeah, it's a telegraph.
it's a telegraph.
It's a telegraph.
What other thing would the word telegraph mean?
I don't know. Telegraph receiver. That's what we had. All right, we're getting too into the weeds of my childhood here. It was a fun childhood. Point being, I like to think my childhood contributed to the man I am today, and I like to think I'm the smartest man in the world. So, like, everybody should have that. I'm kidding. Look at him shaking his head. On to more serious notes, though. Wearing this hat today in solidarity with the Samourai wallet team, and is just over a year, 366 days to the day since they were arrested and put on house arrest for claims. What do we call them? Being charged, money laundering, facilitation. So bring awareness to it. The fight's still going on. Things, as we've discussed over the last couple of months, there have been some movement at the federal government level, but particularly as it pertains to Tornado Cash and defining these types of wallets, and seem to be moving in the right direction. But yet, Samourai devs are still on house arrest, and just want to remind you freaks that this fight is still going on. CoinJoins are not money laundering. Non-custodial wallets are not money transmitters. And do not, the price is running. We're going to get 220 by June. We got public companies launching with large Bitcoin treasuries. Do not forget about Samourai. Okay, they are suffering. We're all enjoying this.
To be clear, I believe the charges were just conspiracy charges. It's important that everyone keeps this top of mind and that we keep pushing. I'm cautiously optimistic. It's kind of weird looking back and over the last year, right? I mean, I encourage the freaks to think about where they were a year ago when the news dropped. And I think we're on a positive direction. The number one thing that people can do is keep it top of mind and keep pushing. And I think Econo Alchemist has done a really good job of making sure people don't forget about it, with his daily posts reminding everyone of how long it's been. And then number two thing is funds for the Legal Defense Fund. And so you can support the Legal Defense Fund at p2prights.org. I think no matter how you cut it, there's going to be a lot more legal fees. So there's been a lot of support, but it's still way short of what is needed. So every sat helps in that regard. Hopefully by this time next year, we'll see the charges completely dropped and them free men again.
Keep fighting, freaks.
And just a huge shout out to the guys at Bitcoin Policy Institute who are running the P2P Rights Legal Defense Fund. And any funds that are left over afterwards will just be used for other open source contributor legal defense cases. So it won't be wasted. But like I said, we're way short of what is needed anyway. Every sat matters.
p2prights.org. Check it out. We got to get moving. I got my sister in town. We are on to the human rights. Or do you want to say something?
Oh, just shout out CB, who zapped us 21,000 sats with a telegraph key. Thank you for your support.
What does it say? Stay humble, stack sats. Can you decode it?
I don't know.
Logan, find a decoder. Decode it. And while you decode it, I'll read the
it
human
just
rights.
looks like dots.
Find a decoder. You never know. The Human Rights Foundation story of the week comes out of Georgia again, where Georgia has banned foreign donations for nonprofits and NGOs mere weeks after freezing the bank accounts of 5 NGOs supporting pro-democracy demonstrators. In recent unrest caused by elections, Georgia's regime passed a new law that bans foreign organizations from providing monetary or in-kind grants to Georgian organizations and individuals without regime approval. Introduced by the increasingly repressive Georgian Dream Party, the bill is part of a broader effort, including the controversial foreign agents law passed in 2024, designed to silence dissent and dismantle pro-democracy groups. Rights groups warn these laws will cripple civil society by cutting funding and imposing heavy fines for the violators. Last week, Parliament also read a bill that would grant officials the power to ban opposition parties entirely. With civil society financially repressed, Georgia is sliding further into tyranny, where free expression, political opposition, and grassroots organizations are under siege. For more stories like this, make sure you sign up to the Financial Freedom Report newsletter, which drops weekly at financialfreedomreport.org. Georgia heating up. India, Pakistan heating up too. I'm not going to pretend to know what's going on there, but apparently it's heating up.
First Florida, now Georgia. God.
Yeah.
What's happening in India, Pakistan?
I have no idea. I just know.
I'm guessing from just context that this is SHSS. Stay humble, stack sats.
Yeah, see, there was a message there. Thank you, Logan. Stay humble, stack sats.
And that's all dots. There's no dashes needed.
Well, I know that 3 dots is S because like dot dash dash
SOS,
dot.
right? Yeah.
So I'm assuming that 4 dots is H.
Yep, you're right. I found a Morse code translator. Stay humble, stack sats. Great advice. Thank you, CB.
Appreciate you, CB. And we appreciate all the freaks who contribute to the show.
Wait, what's happening in India and Pakistan?
I don't know. There's like they have like an ancient blood feud that's popping off again.
They're beefing with each other.
All that border pageantry is actually turning into something.
There's always shit. I mean, a lot of it can be blamed on the British, but
Well, the Indians and the Pakistanis in London are fighting in the streets of London now too. That's what the ancient blood feud is.
what was it? Was it Vance who said that the most powerful Muslim country in the world is the UK? Was that his words?
I don't know. I didn't hear that one. I didn't catch that one.
I went down a rabbit hole this week of Indian water supply goes through Chinese occupied Tibet. And I guess China's going to build a massive dam that's bigger than the Three Gorges Dam,
Yeah,
the current biggest dam in the world.
An order of magnitude bigger.
And I don't know. I mean, I feel like the India-China tensions are something to watch. That feels like that could simmer over.
Yeah, they had similar border crisis. Logan mentioned the India-Pakistan border. They have like the pageantry where they have the gates and the armies come and they dance at each other.
Yeah.
But like on the Chinese side, they've been like throwing rock. They refuse to engage with modern weaponry. They like throw rocks at each other and hit each other with sticks.
I don't know. Not an expert, but that border just seems like a tinderbox, tinder keg. I don't know, whatever the expression is. And they're both the largest populous countries in the world. They're right next to each other, and one is building a dam on the river that they share. So, okay.
Well, people are worried about that dam for many reasons, not only for the diversion of highly necessary water resources, but they think if they build it the size that they're talking about, like it could actually create like earthquakes downstream.
Yeah, because it's in a seismic zone or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just an interesting. It's an interesting philosophical question, right? Like, whose property is it? Are they stealing energy? That's not just water, right? It's like, are they stealing energy from India? Does might make right? You know, there's just all these different. And then it's not just cutting off water. You can also just like fucking open the gates. Just have like a tidal wave go down the fucking river. That's pretty scary.
Yeah.
Anyway, not an expert. I just bring it up because I went down a small rabbit hole on it 2 days ago or yesterday.
Let's build the nuclear facilities. I don't know why we need all these big dams. I don't know why.
I mean, I bet you India would be kind of questionable if they did that near their border too, but they could do it in closer to the interior.
Why are they worried about? I mean, China already has nukes. Like, why would they worry about it?
If it was near their border,
Nuclear. I mean, a non.
they both have
grade.
nukes. India
Yeah,
has
they both
nukes
have-
too.
Yeah, so it shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
You have that game theory. If you fuck up this nuclear power plant, we're going to use the kinetic nukes. This is getting down a dark path. This is an optimistic week.
Optimistic.
We're gonna read the top boost from Rabbit Hole Recap. The Coinbase rugs continue. 353. Our girl Sil Pringle Mac. 111,111 sats. Ones across the board. Pound drum boost. We will win. Love Pringle. Heart, heart, heart.
Oh shit, that was a huge boost.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, thank you for your support, even though I didn't receive my share. I'm
I got
glad
mine.
Marty did.
I got mine.
Appreciate it. There's the thought that counts.
Reed, 21,012 sats. Palindrome boost. Are meetup shout-outs still a thing? Yes, they are, Reed.
Yes.
If you're in Western Mass or Northern Connecticut, meet up with some ride or dies this Sunday, April 27th at 6 p.m. at Peppa's Pizza in East Longmeadow for the 32nd Western Mass Bitcoin Meetup. Topics: why meetups matter and hashtag free samurai. Cheers. Reiterate. Sunday, April 27th, 6 p.m., Peppa's Pizza in East Longmeadow. Be there or be square. Those are the only boosts that made the cut this week.
Thank you for your support, freaks. Long meetups.
Long meetups. Do it. Do it. Blow through software updates.
You said you're in a rush, right?
Yeah, do you have any?
I don't know. Why
Looks
don't you
like-
read them? And Seth will stop you if he thinks there's anything important.
Well, it looks like Zeus had a pretty major upgrade, so we'll probably read that one.
All right. I had Colludus on Citadel Dispatch this week. If you use Zeus, consider listening to it. It was a big update.
I use Zeus. So I will
And if you
listen to
don't
that.
use Zeus, consider using Zeus and then listening to it.
Yeah.
Just search
Zeus-
Citadel Dispatch in your favorite podcast app.
So version 0.11.0 Alpha 2 with cashew support is now available for testing. So go check it out. CoinSwap version 0.1.1 has been released with improved protocol efficiency, security, and usability improvements. Minibits version 0.2.2 beta has been released. Nunchuck Desktop version 1.9.45 has been released.
Minibits is a big one because Minibits has been one of the best cashew wallets for 2 years now, and this is their first iOS release.
Hell yeah.
So if you're on iPhone, you can use it now.
Shout out to Minibits. Shout out to Nunchuck. Blitz Wallet version 0.4.4 has been released. Amber version 3.2.8 has been released. Aegis version 0.1.1 has been released. This looks like a Noster client.
Wait, so Amber is on Android, and it allows you just put your Noster private key in there, and then you can sign in to other apps without sharing your private key with them, so you don't have to trust the developer of those different apps when you sign in. That's Android only. It's been around for a bit now. Aegis is the first one that has come out for iPhone that tries to do the same thing, which is why I put them next to each other. And then No Stash, which is the next one on your list, is also for iOS, which allows you to sign into Nostr things in Safari, in mobile Safari. So you can think of it like the extensions. So anyway, different ways to protect your Nostr private key depending on your platform when you use Nostr apps.
Go test them out, freaks. NOS2X, the extension. I like the browser extension.
Yeah, NOS2X is my favorite browser extension on desktop. So No Stash is attempting to be that, but on mobile Safari.
Yeah.
NOS2X is managed by, I think it's maintained by Fiat Jaff. And it's nice because it's just really simple, so it basically never needs updates. It's very lightweight.
Yeah. Nostr version 1.20.0 has been released. iOS app. Yakahoni version 1.6.8 has been released. Pretty big update, looks like, but I'm not going to read these release notes because we all know how that ends. Not well. Open Vibe version 1.10.0 has been released. Cross post from one network to another, or take posts beyond the open social web. Share anything, anywhere, effortlessly from Open Vibe.
Yeah. So the last three things you read, Nostr is Nostr spelled with a U, is one of the best
Terrible
iOS
name.
Nostr
Name.
clients. Horrible name, great app. Yakehone is basically like the two best cross-platform Nostr apps that are available on both Android and iPhone are Primal and Yakehone. And this one, Open Vibe, is unique in that it's Nostr, Blue Sky, and Mastodon. So you can manage and post to all three in the same app.
Have I given my ActivityPub story yet?
No, what's your ActivityPub story?
TFTC site newsletter runs through Ghost, and looks like Ghost has completed a multi-year effort to make all the content produced by people leveraging Ghost available on ActivityPub, and so like where TFTC is being distributed on ActivityPub. No engagement, but I can just see the feed. Like I didn't realize like ActivityPub's like a Blue Sky like
ActivityPub is the protocol that Mastodon is.
Yeah. Yeah, not a lot of people liking my content there. No engagement.
Is anyone actually seeing it? Like, I don't know. How are they
distributing? It's being distributed.
ActivityPub is weird because it's like you have a bunch of different federated instances. You're still like, instead of solving the Zuckerberg problem, like instead of solving the like one central ruler problem, the way they solve it is there's many little Zuckerbergs. It's like little fiefdoms. So it doesn't really solve the key core of it, which is being able to own your social graph and move around relatively easily. Nostr fixes that.
Nostr does fix that. Yeah, when TFTC's on activity, the guys try and find us, follow us, and interact with our posts.
Congratulations.
Alex Gleason, if you can make like the bridge there for that content, it would be much easier for me than having like post on Obla. Think about it. Consider it.
Or what do you want?
I want a bridge from ActivityPub to Nostr, so I don't have to post.
Why?
So I don't have to go, like the content is native on ActivityPub, so I don't have to go in Obla or Highlighter and like.
Oh, we already have a bridge.
Place.
Alex Gleason has a bridge. It'll probably be formatted pretty horrible if it goes like 2 steps, but.
Yeah, try and find it, Gleason, if you're listening. I know you are. Bridge to TFTC content.
Well, if you can you send me like a link to your?
Yeah, I can do this here.
Mastodon page.
I don't know. Like here, I'll send you like what the link.
If you send it to me, I can send it to Gleason and ask him to add it to the bridge.
Yeah, let me see. Truth for the commoner. Yeah, we're being indexed. Let me put this in rabbit hole recap group chat. Boom, Gleason. Get it to Gleason. Last thing we have on the list, Matt and I separately did shows outside of our little sphere. Matt was on. Is that the Brain Trust show? Bitcoin Brain Trust?
Bitcoin Brainstorm.
Brainstorm.
With ARK Invest and Bitcoin Park. But we talked about treasury strategies. It was recorded last week. I think it's highly relevant for this week's news. So people should consider listening to it. Kathy Wood was on it. Matt Cole from Strive. Will Reeves from Fold. Lorenzo from the ARK team. And Rod from Bitcoin Park.
Go check it out. I joined Tom
How
Woods.
was Tom Woods?
It was great. I've been a long-time fan. I've been trying to I didn't even bring it up to him, but I should have taken the opportunity to do it. I've literally been emailing him for 6 years trying to get him on TFTC. He's never responded. And then I randomly get an inbound email from him. There was a Kevin Dolan from Exit. Said he should have me on to talk Bitcoin. I guess gave him my email. Tom Woods emailed me last week. Said, "Do you want to come on the show?" I said, "Tom, I would love to come on your show. I've been a fan of it for years." And so, yeah, we recorded on Monday. It's a quick hit. It's 45 minutes in and out. It was it's a good interview too. It's good to get your reps in that type of interview because he's very much focused on distilling to first principle, like basics for his audience. And so the first question he asked me was about we're going to win, that whole thing. But like the first like Bitcoin related question he asked me, it was like, why Bitcoin, not Monero? And it caught me off guard. I was like, oh shit. Like,
he named Monero specifically.
Yeah, I got to give like the Monero Bitcoin.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's sophisticated.
I think I did well on the go.
I got to give it a listen.
Yeah.
Some freak on Noster was like, why didn't Marty shill Noster on Tom Woods? And I was like, I don't know. I haven't listened. Did he do well otherwise? He's like, I don't know. I haven't listened yet either. It's like, it's like, okay.
No, and then I responded. I was like, that's on me. Thinking like, was there an opportunity? Like, I just gave him the benefit of the doubt. Like maybe there was an opportunity to bring it up, and I missed the opportunity. But then I went back and listened. There was no opportunity to bring it up. And, like,
yeah, I don't think he even listened to it.
I don't know why. Like, I bring up Noster whenever it's applicable to the conversation I'm having. Fortunately, in the quick Tom Woods rip, it was not applicable. Seth,
you got any opinions?
You've been sitting there in silence with that British guy behind you, just looking at us. Like, let's pull you back in.
He's been smiling.
Or Zoomer of the week. What's on your head? Not the hat. What's on your mind?
What's on my mind? Still unwinding from tax season, if I'm being honest. It was a grind there at the end. There was Monday night leading into April 15th. I was like having a bunch of dreams about taxes, and people were emailing me, and they're like, "Here's all this stuff. You know, is that enough to prep the return?" And they were people that like weren't even our clients, so it's always tough. That was like my 8th busy season, I believe. Yeah, they're getting better with experience, but they're always just brutal at the end. All the days merge into one. And it's just
nobody wants to hear an accountant complain. Let's talk about Bitcoin, please. Come on. We get it. You get a busy season. The accountant should be fighting if you guys hate the stress of busy season, you should be fighting the hardest to eliminate the IRS, okay?
Hey, they got another offer. A bunch of IRS agents got another offer to buy out and leave, and so many of them are taking it.
Maybe this is actually a good question for you, pertinent to accounting. Is there a noticeable effect of this cutting of the staff at the IRS?
Yeah, I haven't had to call them a ton since Trump got elected, but like last fall, last year, it was brutal. Long wait times. They'd put me on hold forever. Call would drop. I'd call back. We're too busy to even put you back on hold. And the few times I've had to call since Elon started cutting it up, like they are very efficient. The refunds are coming in quicker. You can hear other agents in the background on the phone. They're back in the office. Um, but yeah, I think they keep cutting. I can't keep up with how many they've cut, but there was another big offer for a lot of those agents to leave, and so many of them are taking it. So I don't know. I mean, I think Trump said, we might get rid of the IRS altogether, but now they're talking about additional tax cuts. So which one is it? I don't know. I'm ready for the IRS to go away, though. Find something else to do.
Oh, I like to hear that. I had one more thing, Logan. Pull up the chart. Speaking of accounting, the Bitcoin held on the balance sheet of exchanges is being drained right now. What do we think of these charts? Is there any signal in these charts? It's from the TFTC account. The social team is leaning into this. The exchanges are running out of Bitcoin, freaks.
Tell your social intern to stop with the fucking engagement bait.
You can tell them right now. There's two of them, Trevor, Ed. Matt, what do you want to say to Trevor and Ed?
Are they in the studio?
No, but they're probably listening.
Trevor, Ed, be better. Do better.
It works.
This is bottom tier bullshit. Who's the source for this one? Do I see CryptoQuant?
Let's see. Who's the source, Logan?
It does. Yeah, it's CryptoQuant.
He's a very reputable source.
Very reputable source. I mean, the number one thing, just for the number one thing is that they don't track, like Anchorage custody or Coinbase custody, or they leave those excluded. So you literally have a situation where MicroStrategy buys Bitcoin and then it quote unquote leaves Coinbase and then goes to Coinbase custody, and they're like, "Oh, the exchanges are getting drained." Well, it's just bullshit.
The drain of available Bitcoin to sell to people. Maybe it's happening.
And then
220 in June. The little supply squeeze.
Look, I mean, I think as Bitcoin purchasing power increases, we should see that number trend down. But also, it's very easy to get Bitcoin on exchanges. Like you could literally you can send 1 million Bitcoin to an exchange in 30 minutes, 40 minutes if you want to.
Yeah, I
If you're
agree.
so
I'm being
motivated.
facetious.
So I think it's, as a metric, it's mostly just bullshit.
Agreed. And I'm being a pussy of a boss right now. I let you yell at Ed and Trevor. Ed and Trevor, be better. Come on. We have a brand.
Do better.
And a standard to uphold here. Okay. Let's not fall for the Bitcoin is leaving exchanges. You better get your sats while they're still there.
Trevor, Ed, I'll give you as a grizzled old timer, I'll give you a little hint. If there's a watermark on the image that says crypto, probably could skip it.
That's
Probably
a good heuristic. Good heuristic.
Skip it.
Yeah. Greg is not happy in this Zap.stream.
Greg is never happy, man. He comes in, he's a ride or die hater. Like he's with us every week, always complaining. I appreciate you, Greg. Thanks for tuning in.
Greg, do you ever not complain? Can you say one nice thing to us in the live chat, please? I want to see, before we wrap up here. We're not ending the stream until Greg says something nice in the live chat.
Well, we're going to be here for a while. He said don't mess with Logan. That's a positive.
That's, I don't know.
I stand with Logan.
I stand with Logan, too.
We're just, you're.
All right, that was
did
positive.
You said your sister-in-law was in town, right?
Oh, my sister.
Yeah. Oh, he loves Bitcoin knots. That doesn't really count.
He said, "Love you guys. Fight spam." Okay.
Where did he say that? Love you guys. Fight spam. We love you too, Greg. Thank you.
All right.
I love Bitcoin knots. Like I don't know where you think the hate comes from, and we love Ocean. So, but.
Oh yeah, he's always mad when we don't do Bitcoin knots upgrades in the list. Come on.
Just remind us when they happen.
Yeah.
It's not intentional.
Crowdsource.
We don't exclude any project from the software release notes intentionally.
All right, Seth, any final words? Parting words of wisdom for the freaks out there?
Yeah, I think my, top advice for my generation, some of the younger kids of this generation, is to continue to study Bitcoin, what Bitcoin is, why Bitcoin's important, because arguably at the end of the day, without Bitcoin, we probably wouldn't be here having this conversation. So you can build whatever you want on other chains, you can do whatever you want on other chains, but at the end of the day, Bitcoin is the winner. Bitcoin is the best store of value. All money is converged to one. I mean, you know all the stuff. So Bitcoin's the only thing that matters at the end of the day, in my opinion. And I'm going to stay humble and stack sats about it.
I love that. Before we end, I need to ask you, what is your RHR story? Like, how did you discover Rabbit Hole Recap? I feel like we should be asking all our Zoomers this question.
That's just true.
So yeah, I didn't listen to a ton of podcasts when I was coming into Bitcoin. I read a lot of books and I listened to a lot of Cafe Bitcoin while I was at work. So that's kind of how I got my reps in there, the summer of 2022. I don't know how, because I remember, following you guys. Matt, you were kind of my favorite Bitcoiner back then. Still are, but definitely back then. I don't know how I missed the show. Never listened to the show back then. So the first time I actually listened to the show was when I joined Joe at Satoshi Fascioli and I was doing the tax return. And I've been a listener ever since.
First time you ever listened to Rabbit Hole Recap, you were doing the RHR taxes?
Yeah, like we were going through, all of our spring work, and here's the partnership returns. All right, Rabbit Hole Recap. Okay, it's a podcast. And so I started listening, and yeah, it's my tradition now. The last 2 years, been listen to a live episode while I prep the tax return.
I love that. Was it
probably one of our most unique origin stories that we've had?
Was the show a pleasant surprise for you?
Yeah, I liked it, and I feel like I don't know. I tried to encourage my brother to listen, and I followed up with him on it like 2 weeks ago, and he said he gave it a try. He just couldn't get into it. He likes listening
Oof.
to he likes listening to Maulers on Monday. So I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe Maulers is beating you guys a little bit on some of the Gen Z, but I think we're going to see a resurgence of Gen Z here with these next few episodes. But I like it. I think it just takes a second to get to know you guys. You're hilarious. I make my wife listen sometimes if we're driving in the car. You get a laugh out of her every now and then. So you guys are you're a fun listen.
Thank you, Seth. Try to bring some humor to it. And I guess if we got to compete with Jack, we gotta
We're cool with it.
be more animated.
It's not a competition.
It is a
Go listen to
competition, Matt.
Matt.
It is a competition, Matt. We need to win. Okay, if you're not winning, you're losing. I'm kidding.
Okay.
Money
There's
matters.
plenty to
Coach.
go around.
There's a different flavor for every person out there. You know, everybody's got different taste. We're
Yeah.
typical flavor.
I mean, I've tried to listen to Maulers a good bit too, but kind of the problem that I run into is I'm just doing Bitcoin stuff all day at work, so I don't want to keep listening to Bitcoin stuff afterwards. So usually RHR is about the only thing I can get in each week. That's enough for me.
Because we don't talk about Bitcoin anymore.
Well, it's just enough Bitcoin. I
There you go.
can't listen to it all day every day, but like when I was learning about it the last few years, I just couldn't get enough of it, and now I'm kind of sick of it. So
It's
just take a
good,
break
yeah.
every
Yeah.
now and then.
It's is it Alan Watts or Terrence McKenna? I think it was Terrence McKenna. In the context of taking acid, it's like once you get the message, you put the phone down. You know, you don't need to listen to every Bitcoin podcast. Yeah, it was Terrence McKenna. Yeah. Once you get,
There's so many podcasts now. I mean, it's a good problem to have. But
it is a great problem to have. There weren't as many when we first started this show.
When Marty started
really-
TFTC pre-RHR, there was like 3, and RHR was like the 4th.
It was me, Stefan,
crazy.
and Peter for a while there.
No,
yeah, there's really no
noted.
excuse to
And noted, yeah.
not listen to stuff
Which
anymore.
yeah.
Noted is goaded. I'll admit it. I'm going to talk about a duo that can make people laugh on air while explaining pretty in-depth economic principles. Shout out to Michael and Pierre. I saw Pierre yesterday. Bitcoin Bond Company. A lot of exciting ideas.
Love
being
those
floated
guys.
around. Yeah.
Legends.
All right. We'll let you freaks go. Go have a good weekend. Touch grass. Let your kids play outside.
Put your phone down.
Put your phone down. I'm supposed to write a bent before I go home, but I feel like I should go. My sister, her boyfriend, their dog.
Just go. You can write the button later.
Okay.
Love you, Marty. Love you, Seth. Thanks for joining us. Stay humble, stack
Yeah,
sets.
thanks for having me.